Well, welcome to Book World, the Great Escape. I'm author CJ Peterson. My co-host over here is author Michael Scott Clifton. Today we have special guest down here, author Jackie Smith. We'll be talking to her in just a minute. Before we begin, Mike, how was your week?
Let's have a great week. Um, as you know, the several passions. Writing is one of those, and my family, and also gardening. Gardening is one of the things I've always been passionate about. And this week has been the first week I've been able to actually get out and not have to walk through a swamp because of the rain. So I've enjoyed working out in the yard, getting flowers ready, putting down mulch and stuff like that. And my wife and I are kind of old fashioned the way that Millie and I, we like to sit on the porch and look at the flowers and watch the clouds go scudding by, in a much calmer world. And anyway, we enjoy that. Um, this on April the 27th, Saturday, April 27th, the Northeast Texas Writers Organization will be having their annual Spring Writers Conference. And I will be one of the speakers at the conference. And CJ, you would be extremely proud of me because I was able, after not having done a PowerPoint in many years, I was able to sort of dust off the rust and go through. And I was able to actually put together a pretty good PowerPoint. And my PowerPoint is entitled "Journey to Magical Worlds," and what I'm going to hopefully do in an understandable fashion is talk to writers and authors about using magic in their stories, in their books. And what I'm hoping to do is to introduce the elements of how you use magic, not just in fantasy, but in other genres as well, because a lot of authors, especially ones I've met and more than a few in Netwo, they think that's strictly restricted to fantasy and not, you can use it in historical fiction, you can use it in romance, you can use it in thrillers and in mysteries. And I don't know that has ever really occurred to some of the writers that that's an element that can be introduced into their writing that is not that much of a reach. And I think I think also it's easy to segue into what they're doing. So anyway, I guess we'll find out how successful I am at that. But I do want to sort of pat myself on the back because I was dreading the PowerPoint. Oh, I used to do that.
I was gonna say, knowing how computer
The
technologically,
challenge.
I was gonna say advanced that you are.
Yes, yes, I'll take that. I will.
Yeah, I am very proud of you for
I mean,
doing the PowerPoint.
I warned my wife. I said, if you hear loud noises coming from the, where I write in the computer, I said, don't come in because I'll be working on the PowerPoint. So anyway, it's like, whew, man, I got that done. It's like a 10,000 pound off the shoulders, and it wasn't nearly as bad as. In fact, it was fun.
Well,
It was fun.
is it too late for others to get tickets to that? Because I know that CI Chevron will also be speaking there, as well
Right.
as Mike Wigington.
And the answer is no. The website is netwo.org and www.netwo.org. And there is a link on the Netwo website to go to the conference where you can register online. You can pay online. It's very easy to do. And yeah, it's still open. And I've actually tried to do some stuff on social media with advertising it, and the link is on there. And all you got to do is click on the link, takes you straight to the website, takes you straight to the conference link, and from there you simply register for the Writers Conference.
Awesome. I've had the opportunity to speak there twice. Great group of people. If you have the chance to go, I highly recommend that you go. They're awesome. Well, I know for me, and actually for you, because you're going to be there, I'll be running around the floor like I normally do for a lot of the Comic-Cons that we go to. We're going to be doing the East Texas Comic-Con that will be taking place in Longview, Texas at the Longview Exhibit Center on, ready for it, May the 4th be with you, as well as, wait for it, Revenge of the 5th. That's right. May 4th and May 5th at the Longview Exhibit Center. That's 1123 JC Drive, Longview, Texas 75604. And we're excited. We're going to have Kevin Sorbo, Paul St. Peter, Carrie Means, and I can't remember which one's going to be there, but one of the amazing Digital Circus members will be there. So super excited to have that going on. As I said, Mike will be there. He'll have some books. We're trying to talk Jackie into going. Uh, we'll find out down there. But in the meantime, Miss Jacqueline E. Smith, as she is known in her author world, is a multi-genre author actually, but we're going to be talking about her YA books in particular. We're going to start off with the one that she actually has recently come out with. Can you tell us? Well, first of all, welcome, Jackie. Jackie's
Hi,
a
thank
friend of mine.
you.
She's a friend of mine, so kind of sometimes I feel like a little bit familiar when we talk, and I forget that not a lot of people know that we are familiar. So, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. Yeah, I like having my friends on. Uh, So, tell us about the new book.
So the new book is actually called, oh, wrong side. Streamer can be confusing. It's called Solstice Stories. And so it will be a part of a bigger collection that will be released hopefully later this year. It's 4 fairy tale retellings based on the seasons. And right now I have spring. Thank you. Right now I have spring available, and it's something I kind of wanted to put out. I do go to a lot of the same shows year after year, like Dallas Fan Expo. Like I'll be at Central Texas Comic Con next weekend in Waco, and I see a lot of, awesome friends returning year after year. And I wanted to have something a little extra special. I say it's kind of like dropping a single before the album. So yeah, once the complete collection is released, this book will not exist anymore. It will go away. So this is kind of like a limited edition thing that I'm really just doing in person. You can't find it as an ebook. Technically, it is available on Amazon, but most people haven't gone to see it on Amazon. They've just gotten it from me. But yeah, I really am excited about this project and about this book. So if you see me in person, come and get one of these. They're $5.
Now, what is it?
It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what's the twist to it, though?
So my twist is, what would happen if you took the Beast out of the castle and made him a part of a traveling troupe of performers?
Oh, okay, cool. Like it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Beauty and the Beast, I mean, it's such a great story. It's a classic. Of course, I grew up with the Disney version, and I've read several fairy tale retellings that were just like excellent. I loved them. But I've noticed that none of them take the Beast out of the castle and put him in the real world and see how other people might react to him. And I thought, I wonder what would happen.
Wow. That's a good premise.
So do we get any kind of a little bit of a preview into the other seasons, or is it top secret?
It's not top secret. Let's see. The other seasons, I can tell you summer, it's probably not going to be that big of a surprise. The Little Mermaid.
Nice.
Because of course, you have to go to the beach.
Yeah, of course.
Let's see. Fall, this one's probably pretty obvious too, will be Red Riding Hood.
Okay. No, I wouldn't have guessed it, but that's cool.
Oh, really? Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
I was thinking Red Riding Hood for fall. And then winter is the one that I had to think about for a very, very long time, because everything that I came up with at first ended up just being Frozen. And I'm like, no, we're not doing Frozen. Frozen is too big.
Yeah.
But I've always loved Sleeping Beauty. And I thought, I think we can make that work for winter. And just like with Beauty and the Beast, there are twists to every single story. And I guess the only one that I'll tell you is for Red Riding Hood. She's trying to save the wolf.
Oh, good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because wolves are very mistreated by our country. And actually the story Red Riding Hood, this is what I learned at, I'm a wildlife advocate. And one of my favorite places to go is the Colorado Wolf and Wildlife Center. And my first year there, one of the very first things I learned is that all of the fairy tales that feature wolves as the villain originated with the Black Plague. And that was because the people back then truly believed that wolves were spreading the disease. They were not. They were eating the dead animals that had passed away from the disease. They were eating the dead people who had passed away from the disease. So, they saw them and thought, oh my God, wolves are killing us. Wolves are eating us. They're spreading this disease. And that's absolutely not true.
So time-wise, is it current time, history time? Where is it in the timeline?
Magical history time. I've been doing
Okay.
a lot of research.
Like present time? Is it?
Oh, so I'm not good at history.
Like this one
No,
that's
not this
currently
century.
out?
No, not at all. There's
Okay.
no electricity.
Okay. That's what I
They're
was
riding
checking.
around in a shepherd's wagon.
Okay, perfect. So
Yeah.
like the time of like the original story.
I
Wow.
like to, well, maybe even a little before, because Beauty and the Beast and The Little Mermaid were actually written, I think, or at least set later on, like in the, I don't know if it was 17 or 1800s.
Mhm.
But no, my stories are probably a little before that.
So like even in the Dark Ages.
Again, this is awful. I don't know history. The only thing I know about history is what I learned from Hamilton. So sure.
Well, we'll say that history timeline is flexible.
Yeah,
Okay.
flexible. Whatever you imagine. They're wearing.
It was fluted. Okay, what else you got for YA? Let's move on.
So for YA, I love boys and bands. So I have Boy Band, which these have brand new covers that I've redesigned. That was one of my projects for this year, because Shipwreck Girl is actually a spin-off of the Boy Band series, and I wanted them to look like they went together.
Now I have read Shipwreck Girl. Can you explain kind of a little bit of both?
Oh, yes, of course. So Boy Band is about a young lady in love with her best friend who just happens to be a member of the world's hottest boy band. And then Shipwreck Girl is about a ballerina. She sustains what she believes to be a career-ending knee injury, but then she auditions for a pop punk music video, which is something that she would never do, but she gets the part. And she may or may not fall in love with one of the members.
May or may not.
Oh. So there's a strong romance theme that runs through.
Oh, I love romance.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Wow.
So do you feel that that's kind of like a top kind of almost requirement for YA? There's got to be some romance in there somewhere.
No. I've read a lot of YA books that don't feature romance. My friend Miracle she wrote this whole collection of creepy short stories that didn't feature any romance. And most of them didn't feature romance. And I loved it. Kids nowadays, I feel like kids have always had a wide range of interests. Like me growing up, I was all about whales and dolphins. That's it. You could not get me to read fiction unless it had a whale or a dolphin in it, or a mermaid. That's it.
Now I have some YAs. So what are some elements that you would consider would be good to be in YA?
I think relatable characters for sure. Because anyone who reads, not even just kids, we want to be able to, even if we can't like picture ourselves in the story, we want to be able to empathize with the character. We want to root for them, unless they're supposed to be, like kind of a weird, scary character, but you still kind of want to root for the other characters. You want to be able to feel like this is a real person. Like one of my favorite series ever, is Twilight. I love Twilight. And it's because every time I reread the books, I think these characters feel like friends to me. It kind of almost feels like, reconnecting. And I think that's really important. So characters are always my favorite element of storytelling.
Right.
So how would you define the age range of because what used to be YA 10, 15 years ago is much broader today, I would say. I think it's fair to say. So what would be the age range of YA in your mind, in terms of the books you write, the books you read, the books you would recommend to others?
So the books that I write, I would usually say are like 12 and up. If I write slightly older characters, if I write about slightly more, they're not super adult situations, but my characters are in their most of my characters are in their late teens, early 20s. So I usually say 12 and up. For the Beauty and the Beast, for the fairy tale retellings, I would definitely say maybe a little younger, more like middle grade. So like maybe 4th through 6th grade.
Mhm.
And a lot of parents out there, I meet so many parents who their kids are like 8 to 10 and they're like, oh, they're reading at
Yes.
already at an 8th grade level. So I think they're fine. My generation, when my sister and I were kids, we grew up reading scary stories to tell in the dark. Those were terrifying. And yet we were reading them at like 7.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I think a lot of it depends on the individual kid, what their interests are. Like, if there's a kid out there who just is super into, I don't know, sports, I'm not sure they're going to want to read my book about ghosts or boy bands, but then they might. You never know. It might
Mhm.
open their eyes to something that they enjoy more.
Well, and you never know what'll pique their interest. Like, I know I'm
Mhm.
gonna date myself, but I used to like Encyclopedia Brown. I used to love like the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew. Along the same lines, I used to love in my younger years the Choose Your Own Adventures because I used
Oh,
to love to have
yeah.
control over my own stories. If I can ever figure out how to write one of them, I'm going to write one of them.
PJ Hoover writes them.
I don't know how to do them.
Oh, talk to her. She's awesome.
I need to figure it out.
The reason I ask you about uh, what your range on YA is because I know at a lot of book events that I've been to, I get asked a lot. Well, because you do get those parents who come up with their kids. Well, this person, kids, their son or daughter's 6th, 7th grade. Well, they're really advanced readers. Well, that's fine, but the content has a
Mhm.
lot to do with it. And so what I tell them is, okay, if I had to give a movie rating, okay,
That's
PG 13. This one, and you're familiar with my book, CJ said, The Janus Witch, which is
Mhm.
a pretty graphic novel in terms of violence. It's an R-rated book, not because it has a bunch of you know uh, uh, you know
romance.
romance and
No,
stuff.
it
It
has
has
my
more to
good
do. It's about a
violence.
violent coven of witches that do violent things, and they
Yeah.
were insisting. Oh, but the girl was in 5th or 6th grade.
Mhm.
So no, I just don't.
Yeah,
So I try to tell them
sometimes
movie ratings, and it, which more often than not, kind of, either okay, well, that's either good or it's bad because if they're going to buy the book or not buy the book, you're really not going to change their mind based on whether it's YA or not. So,
mhm.
so that's why I was asking. I was curious, what the age range would be.
Well,
Sometimes
it's
what I'll
funny.
tell them, sometimes what I'll tell them too is, why don't you read them too before you let them read them?
Right.
That way, if there's something that pops up that, maybe there's a topic in it that you want to talk to your kid about, that might open a door for you.
Well, what's funny is my very first book, Cemetery Tours, I wrote to be new adult. And, my characters are from 24 to 28.
Right.
Um, I never wrote it with the intention of being young adult, but then I applied for my very first teen book fest with boy band. They wrote me back saying, yes, we want you, but we want cemetery tours. So I was like, okay, I guess Cemetery Tours is young adult now. And actually, I went to the same book fest this year, and Secondhand, which is my new collection of creepy short stories, that was the book that they got this year. And like one of those stories in there, like the characters are in their 40s. But I mean, I
Oh,
didn't.
that's ancient. What? Why would you?
But I mean, I'm just saying, there's not a lot of graphic violence, like you said. There's not
Right.
any, I guess,
50 Shades of Grey
yeah,
stuff.
there's no 50 Shades of Grey. Nothing I write is erotica. Even my
Yeah.
trashy romance novel that I wrote, my editor said this is PG-13, but you tried. So,
Give it your best
yeah,
shot.
so I'm okay with, if a teenager or if I,
Mhm.
I will say that this book, can qualify as young adult.
I mean, part of
Oh,
it is too, if you think about like what's on the TV nowadays.
oh yeah.
And so I know I was a youth leader for 18 years. So I sometimes would explain to people some of the books. I say, well, I wrote them so that if any of these kids picked them up, I would not be embarrassed.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
That's how I worded it.
Mm.
I do think that you have, because I don't know if Jack, if you're aware, but I was a public educator for 38 years,
Oh, that's awesome.
and I do know that you do have kids that are as young as fourth, fifth, or sixth grade that are reading at an extremely high level,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and we would have them coming from the elementary campus to the junior high school library and check books out, like Aragon and things like that, that because they didn't have challenging enough books for them in the elementary library. So I do know there's kids like that are, advanced ages, but I still think the content,
Mhm.
is just as important in terms of, you know, um, defining what's appropriate and what's
Yeah.
not, because I don't really think that reading level covers it, as like it should. So that's why, like I said, YA seems to be such a moving target nowadays,
Mhm.
as opposed to 15 or 20 years ago when it was in concrete. It was this age group, and it was, it's absolutely within that parameters, and you couldn't go past that. So
I don't even hear new adult anymore,
no,
actually.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm actually probably not the best judge, to be honest, because like my sister, when she was in like elementary school, middle school, was reading like the Pretty Little Liar series, which is probably not written for kids. And then like, when I was growing up, this wasn't books, but like my mom let me watch, like she really loves like Halloween and spooky stuff. She let me watch
Mhm.
all of the most haunted places on earth, scariest places on earth. She let me watch Dracula. I wasn't allowed to watch Dumbo because she thought it would make me sad, but I was totally allowed to watch Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Wait
So
a minute.
yeah.
Dumbo, no Dumbo,
Yeah, she
but
thought it would make me sad because the baby elephant gets taken away from his mom, and to be honest, I have still not seen Dumbo to this day
mm.
because I don't think I
But
could handle it.
wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. You didn't think you could handle it, but you could watch.
I could watch Bram Stoker's Dracula. Yeah. I remember being a child and seeing like the giant eye in the sky and thinking, "What is this?" But yeah, no, she was fine with me watching Dracula.
Okay.
Mm.
And KJ too, when she was like my sister when she was 7, my friend and I had like a sleepover. We were 14 and we put it on, and she was just like, "Oh." That was
Dracula
the
I
same.
can handle.
Yeah.
Stephen King's It. If I had to watch, to have nightmares about that.
Yeah, I did not watch that one.
That
Yeah.
one was creepy as all get out.
Oh yeah,
That one and the one about the virus. What was that one?
Firewalker or something. Is
No,
that?
there was one about a virus.
Oh, Virus. Oh,
No,
well.
Firestarter is the one you were thinking of, but there's one about a virus or something. Can't remember.
Oh, that you're talking about The Stand.
Yes.
One of the all-time
That
best
one was creepy.
books of all time. I've read that. I never read a book more than once, and I've read The Stand 2 or 3 times. If you
That
want,
man is twisted. I
well, if you want a
he's
if you
twisted.
want a classic tale of good versus evil, that you could do a lot worse than The Stand. It's not for, you're don't read it if you're already depressed. It's going to make it worse.
And just don't read his stuff before you go to bed. That's
Yeah,
just not advised. I
yeah.
just highly, strongly don't advise that stuff. Anyway, back to YA.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wind it
So
back in.
back to YA. What other YA books do you have, or is that your extent right there?
So I have the boy band series, I have the cemetery tour series, I have 2 Royal Romance Christmas novellas, which they qualify as YA, but I wrote them because we see the movies every year that Hallmark puts out about the prince who falls for an American girl. But I wanted to write one from the jilted princess's perspective because I actually believe she's the victim, not the villain. I hate that we have this trope, this constant trope of, oh yeah, this girl is bad because her life didn't work out the way that she thought it was going to. I mean, I would be upset about that too if some girl who didn't know what she was doing came in and stole my man and my job.
Mhm.
So yeah,
I don't blame you either.
I rewrote those stories because I was tired of her being villain, that constant same villain over and
Mhm.
over in every movie. And
Yeah, I don't blame
then
you either.
Replays the bad
see.
girls.
Did she end up having a happy ending?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, she even got a sequel and she's getting a 3rd one this year.
Okay, cool.
So, and then I have the 2 creepy short story collections. So I have Secondhand, and the first one is called Broken Mirror. And that just goes back to the days of growing up on scary stuff and scary stories to tell in the dark and creepy ghost stories.
But
I
not
love ghost
Dumbo.
stories.
But not
Huh?
Dumbo. But not Dumbo.
Not Dumbo. I will never write a story about a sad animal.
Okay.
Never. I volunteer with elephants. I can't.
So
Even
let me ask
color.
you a question. We've
Yeah.
kind of talked kind of all the way around about the different areas and stuff with YA because YA is so vast.
Mhm.
What advice would you give somebody who wants to write YA?
I would give them the advice to write the story that you want to read. I would tell them that there is no one right way to write a book or to get it published, to get it out there. And just believe in your story because you're the only one who can tell it.
Mm-hmm.
And that the world needs your story, and just it's hard. There are going to be a lot of mountains you have to climb to get your book out there and to keep getting it out there, but just keep going and believe in yourself.
Now, before we kind of jump off of here, Wind Trail Publishing is your publishing company, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we do have your linked tree running across the bottom of the screen. For
Yes.
those who are listening, if you want to find it, you can do that. You can also jump onto YouTube because it's in the comments. But if you're listening and you don't want to do that, you can actually go to windtrailpublishing.com and you should be able to find you as well, correct?
For a little while longer, I actually in the process of breaking up with GoDaddy and finding a new server for a new domain. Maybe I don't know what the correct word is. My
Okay.
friend Cody knows.
Okay, if you want to get a hold of Jackie, listen carefully. This is how you get a hold of her. I'm going to catch this as it goes across the screen. It's going to be at her linked tree. It's https://linktr.ee/JACK
Jacqueline
JACQUE.
JACQUELIE.
Okay, yeah, spell it
It's
again.
Jacqueline without the N. That was my childhood nickname.
JACQUELIE.
Yes. That was my childhood nickname. No one else, apparently on God's green earth uses it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to use it.
Why not? And eventually that will get you to everything you need to get a hold of Ms. Jacqueline E. Smith and find her books and everything. I've been there and I can find it. If not, head over to YouTube. You can find me under CJ Peterson at YouTube. You can also go to Michael Scott Clifton under YouTube and it will be in the comments and you can just click on that sucker and it will take you straight to her linked tree and you can find her there as well. Thank you, Ms. Jackie, for coming. We appreciate you. Love having your smiley face on here today.
Thank you so much, CJ. And thank you, Mike. It was so nice to be here.
Thank you. Mike, good luck on your speaking in a few weeks. Also C.I. Shevin if you're watching, and Mike Wigington, you too as well. If you're going to be in the area, make sure to head over to the East Texas Comic-Con in Longview, Texas on May the 4th be with you and Revenge of the 5th. Make sure to head over to find us next week, April 24th, for passive and active writing here, same time, same place. We're going to see what we can come up with. Catch you guys next week, same time, same place. Bye.
Bye-bye.